everybody, my name is Wendy and you are watching Wendy Makes Art, and we are streaming tonight on both YouTube and Twitch, so we'll see how this goes, and I hope that you learn a lot in this session. We are going to learn tonight how to mount painted watercolor and wash work onto panels, different kinds of panels. We're going to go all over the process, and we're also going to experiment a little bit and talk about some different options that I hadn't thought about and we're trying out. This is great for finished paintings, whether you take them off a block, if they're on loose sheets, or even taking paper and doing this before you go out, and then you can put it right on your easel when you're painting outside in plein air. It's lighter than a block and a lot more portable, and I like the surface it creates. So this is a little tiny example of one that is mounted on an aluminum panel. You can kind of see right there. You can see the aluminum on the side, and this is just regular Arches watercolor paper mounted right to it, and I can take and just paint this anywhere and then varnish it and pop it in a frame. So you don't have to mat it, you don't have to add glass, you can just pop them in a frame once you've varnished them. And that is a whole other topic that we'll go over on another episode. So let's get started and I'll kind of go through what you need and what you can use. And feel free to drop any questions you want in the chat while we're going. But let me start out with all of the supplies that you need. So of course, if your paintings are already painted and you want to mount paintings onto a hard surface, then you're going to need some paintings. So we have a number of paintings here. And then you're going to need a couple mediums. This one is called GAC 100, and you use it on anything that there could be acid coming through on. So masonite boards, heavy cardboard panels, which I'm going to show you what I'm trying out tonight, and that's pretty much it. I mean, canvas multimedia artboard, we're going to try that as well too. That's made by Canson. So I use GAC 100. It's acrylic primer and an extender, but it almost acts like a layer of glue, clear glue to seal it, and you put two coats on each side. So you do one side at a time, and you just keep flipping it until you have two coats on both sides. And we'll go over that when we get closer. So GAC 100. The other thing that you will need is soft gel gloss, medium, any gel medium will work. This is just what I like to use, so try some different products. I don't know that it has to be matte versus shiny. Anyway, that's what I like to use, is the golden soft gel gloss. You're going to need some scrappy brushes to put these layers of stuff on. So here's scrappy old brushes, and I'd recommend paper towels and a water cup, which I need to go grab before I use any liquid, but we'll kind of go through stuff first while everybody has a chance to get on. So we've got our paintings. I'm just going to set these to the side right here. We'll come back to them. And then you're going to need your panels, and I've got a variety of things, and we're going to go through this soon. Definitely you need a roller. You need to have your surface covered with scraps of paper, as long as it's clean. I reuse them. I reuse my what is this called? It's newsprint, clean newsprint. But if it gets a little glue on it, I'll wait till it dries and then I'll use the other side, and I just keep using them until they're trashed. Same with white sheets of paper. If I can reuse white sheets of paper, these I've used with printmaking, I'll reuse them. So they're all dry right now, and then we'll reuse them. And I have extra paper here in case I need it, since these pieces are so small. Let's see. I need to get a couple paper towels and a couple of water. So give me 1 second and then I'll be right back while everybody has a chance to get online here. This will take a second. Oh, and the other thing that you will need is a big stack of heavy books. Your big art books are the best, and this is what I use with smaller panels. I have boards that I use, and then I stack heavy things on top of those flat boards when I'm doing a big piece. Studio Cat loves paper towels, so I have to keep these hidden when she's around because she will shred them. She's very naughty. Okay, let's talk about boards. So I have always used aluminum panels. Let me see. I've got one. This is not what I normally use, but this is an aluminum panel. And you can buy sheets of it. This one is a very heavy, solid. The one that I used on this example right here, take it out, then you can see it a little better. I cut down a larger panel. This was a leftover piece for a size I was using. So when I use an aluminum panel, it's a very smooth surface and I want it to stick. So I will sand it lightly. Any grit sandpaper, I just need to mar that surface so that it will take the gel medium and it'll hold. So I sand it lightly, not a big deal. Wipe the dust off with a paper towel, and then it's ready to roll. Hey Annie C, thanks for joining in. Okay, so this one I had already sanded, and because it is not something that will have acid in it, I didn't worry about putting 2 layers of acrylic primer on it. I just didn't bother. But instead, I prepped it and I put a layer of gel gloss medium right on there to prep it and get it ready. Okay? So again, I didn't have to worry about it seeping any kind of acid out and blocking it, just gel medium. So this one is ready to go, and we're going to put paper on this because you can also put blank paper and then paint on them after you've done this. So this one we're going to work on a little later and we'll go over that. That is my main surface that I use. The other one that I have used in the past is, it's called, I'm trying to think, Gator board. That's what it is. This is not foam core. So if I tap on this, if I squeeze it, I can't squeeze a dent in it. So don't be fooled by foam core. Foam core is soft and gushy and will dent. This is Gator board. It is a lot more expensive, but it's very lightweight. So it's great for plein air boards that you're traveling with. You can cut it to size, and then I primed it with soft gel medium, okay? And I felt like that pretty much would seal my surface. This is acid-free board, so I wasn't worried about priming it with this, okay? So that's another one that we are going to put watercolor paper on tonight. Then I started getting creative and I was like, oh, wait a second. What do I have that would work similar? So at work, we had these signs made on, gosh, I'm guessing that it's probably PVC. And they're die cut. So I took it and I cut it up. And I have to say, see how it was printed directly onto the plastic? So it's a little bit of a bend, but it's hard-ish. I did find in testing these that larger pieces curl. So you will get a curl in the larger ones, and I did not like that. So I'm gonna try some little ones to see if it can manage better. I sanded the surface because it's so smooth, I wanted to stick. So I sanded it, that's why it has all the little sandy marks on the colors. And then I put the gel medium on to prep it. So we're gonna I have a piece of paper for this one to test out tonight too. So that's going to be a small test piece. I've made them larger, they do bend. All right, so then I started digging. And yes, being an art supply hoarder, every time I finish a watercolor block, they have a big, giant, heavy board on the back. Now they vary. This one was the Canson Heritage, and it's shiny, and you can see the layer of paper on the back here. But it's a really strong, really heavy cardboard. I cut that up. So we are gonna do like the basic process is I'm gonna show you one layer of this GAC 100 on here, just so you can get the idea, and I'll set that aside. This was another one. This one was the backboard from a watercolor block. It looks like I did not write the brand, but do you see it's kind of like cardboard, only it's heavy. So I thought it would be a great surface. And again, in putting this on both sides with 2 layers on both sides, it keeps it flat. So it doesn't curl. It did keep it nice and flat. We'll see how it does once we put a piece of artwork on it. These ones are all ready to go. I have 2 layers of GAC 100. And then on this side, I put the soft gel and I let it dry. We'll go through this quickly. And then this one, this was the back of a Stonehenge aqua black watercolor pad, and it is very, very heavy as well. It almost seems like a board. It's really cool. And I cut it, and we're going to use that too, because I was looking for alternative methods and also just what we can use that we already have. So one of the nice things is this is inexpensive. I already used the paper in the block or the board or the pad. So why not use these nice, thick, heavy backing boards to make panels? I thought it would be really cool. So we're going to do that. Okay. So first things first, did not bring sandpaper. Ideally, I would probably want to sand this before doing this. So I'm just going to do one panel and show you one layer. Okay. I like to, I'll tear off anything I can tear off if it's on this surface. So I took the back of the watercolor board paper and tore that off. Okay, and if I want to know later what this was, just in comparison of things, then I'll write on the back of it, I can write on the back that this was a Canson Heritage block board. Canson Heritage block backboard. I have just been doing this so I know how they test. Once you find stuff you like, you don't have to do that, but that's the only reason I'm writing that on there. Okay? So, first things first, and let this dry in between layers, okay? So whatever you're doing, make sure that you let it dry. So I try not to get bubbles in this, so I'll shake it a little bit, but not, I'm not going to shake this like crazy. I just might rock it back and forth a little bit. And this stuff comes in jars and a bottle like this. Now this is very convenient. I have a refill jar to fill this up with, but I love that I can just take this like this and open it and then just kind of squirt what I need on there. I know from doing this that is plenty for my first run. So this is just an acrylic primer that is sealing it. And make sure that you get your edges too. So do one side at a time. And I'll go in here and I'll get my edges. So I'm just making sure that this glue is on all the edges. And I usually will do a bunch of these all at once. So come in here. I'm going to get the rest of this edge. You see, I just got it on my fingers. And I'm not too worried if I miss a little section because I'll catch it on the next round. Okay? So that's it. Now, you are going to ruin your brush if you let it sit because it has glue in it, basically. So until you have time to clean it, just drop it right in a jar of water like that. And it's ready to go. Okay? Now, if I weren't reusing this, I would have done this right on here and then lifted it up, and I'll typically find a lid or something that I can set it on. Like, do you see how I just set it on the lid right there? And that way it doesn't stick to the paper and get paper on the back edges of it if I have any glue on there. So just one of those little tiny extra bonus tips for you. Okay? So if this were dry, I'd set that aside, and I do a bunch at once. Mark down a little key, or you can even mark it on the board, you know, right before you put it on, and put a check mark or something so that you can track that you have two, because sometimes you'll lose track and then you'll sadly have to put more layers on. It's just part of it. Just suck it up and do it. Okay, so 2 layers each side. So I will go and do this because some mediums, some of these panels will start curling and you want it completely sealed. So once this dries, I turn it over, I do another layer of GAC 100 on here, I let that dry, then I'll go back to it, I'll put another layer on here, let it dry, and boom, I'll go right back to it. Okay? All right. GAC 100, that seals stuff. Okay. Once that is done, you have to do 2 things. You're going to want your art cut exactly the size or very close to the size of your board. So you'll see on this panel, my artwork is the size of the board. On these that I'm mounting paper on, they're actually a little bigger than my board. Okay? And you want to put, and we'll do one and then set it aside, because I have one that was close to ready, but it didn't have, hell, I can't even tell now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. Great, I've already lost one. Fabulous. That's funny. I will just redo 1, 2. Which one was it? Maybe it's this. No, they're all prepped. They have a really different, well, they kind of have a different look. I'll show you. Okay. So when you're ready to put one on there, and the first thing before you even get this far is you want to take this panel and your gel medium, all right? Klimt painting becomes the most expensive work of modern art at $236.4 million. How fabulous is that? It's so sad that he never got to see these prices in his lifetime. Okay, so after it is sealed with GAC, then you come in here and you do 2 things. You take the board and you put the gel medium on just one side, the side that you're going to mount. See, I wrote on this side so I know that's my back. So I'm going to put the gel medium on here. Okay? Set that guy aside. Now, I was careful to really not get anything dirty right here for a reason. So I'm going to set this guy over here and hope the cat does not show up. Now this is a painting that is trimmed, okay? I've prepped the other ones. I've already put a layer of gel medium on them and let them dry. But I take my finished painting or watercolor paper, and on a clean surface I turn it over. And this is really important. You do not want to get any of the gel medium on the artwork on the front or on the clean paper if you're using watercolor paper. You only want it on the back. So I will start in the middle, and I will come in here and I'll carefully, I'm holding it down pretty tight, but I want to make sure that I cover as much of it as I can and that it's not going to move, okay? And then once I get that down like that, I'm still not letting it move. I get those sides, and now I'm going to get it on the other sides. And if you get it on your fingers, again, be careful. You do not want to get it on the artwork. So I'm going to stick my fingernail under here, my clean hand, and now this has a layer of gel medium. It needs to dry. So it has to sit aside so that it can dry. So I'm going to just take this guy and plop it over here and hope that the cat doesn't show up. Story of my life. All right? So pretend it's already dried. We've done a board. We've prepped it with the gel medium, right? Here's a gel medium board. It's all sealed. It's got the gel medium on it. All right? This is an artwork that is painted, trimmed to fit the board. Let me move this down a little bit so you can see a little better. And we have a clean surface. And here's my artwork, okay? So I'm going to take my gel medium, and once again, I want a nice layer. Now I want to make sure that it's wet when I do this. I want to make sure that there's enough so it will seal on all of it. So I'm going to cover this, even though it already had a layer, I'm going to cover it one more time, and while it is wet, we're going to do two things. First, I'm going to lift this up gently, like this, and I'm going to take another piece of paper and put it down on top so that I know this is a clean surface. And I'm going to lay that back down there. Make sure your fingers are clean. All right? Now, I will take my painting and I'm going to set it right on here, okay? And I try to square it up as best as I can. If it's a little under or over, that's okay, but I still want it fairly square. And then I'll use newsprint, paper, whatever I've got, and I'm going to start rollering it. So I'm going to have a mess if I don't clean this real quick. I'm going to clean this off, dump it in the water, and then close my gel medium, because you will ruin your gel medium if you don't. Okay. So now I'm going to go in here, and I'm rollering, and I felt it move a little bit, so I can check it, and I'm looking for a couple things. I want to make sure that it's sticking completely. So I'm going to lay that back down there. And I'm really pressing. I'm normally standing when I do this because I want to make sure that it is on. Okay? So I'm pressing. Okay? Now, I can usually lift this up and I'll be able to tell at a glance if it's not on. And it looks pretty good. There's some stuff seeping out. I'm not too worried about it. I'm not going to wipe it because I don't want to get it on the front of this panel, but it looks good and it's nice and sealed. If I was worried about it, I would stick it down, get a clean piece of paper again, make sure your bottom paper's clean. Stick a piece of paper over it. I like to make sure those edges are really, really rolled down. Okay? And that's it. It's good to go. But I like to put it under weight. So, just in case, we take it, clean up an area, I get stuff everywhere. And when you do this, you find an area. Let's see if you can see me do this. I'll move the camera for you to see it. All right, so we're gonna move it back here. All right, so clean paper underneath. Make sure it's a flat surface. Like, I don't like that that's leaning over that. So I'll take that and I'll set this down. Now there will be moisture as it dries. So I always, always, always take clean paper, usually newsprint, or even I've got some student grade watercolor paper that I like, but I don't have any that's not got gel or something on it. And I'll take that and I will cover it with that next. Then I move into the realm of books. So I make sure that it's completely covered. In this case, books will be enough weight on my big panels. Like I said, I have a board. And so you just put them under books. At least leave it 2 hours. Usually I'll do this right before bed and I just leave it overnight. Lebowski, I don't know if you're paying attention, but we've got somebody on there that needs to go. So I'll just leave that for you. Okay. So at this point, I'm looking and I'm going, okay, the one that we just did is almost dry already. So I'm going to bring this back here so you guys can see. This little painting, and it's still a little wet, so we'll come back to that one and do it next after we do paper. I want to show you guys, before we run out of time, it'll go fast. I want to show you how you do watercolor paper. So it's very similar to a painted piece. On this one, we're testing out PVC. I've already coated it with a layer of gel medium, all right? This is ART072 watercolor paper, and it too, on the back, has a coat of gel medium that's dry. So dry, dry. And you can usually tell which side you've coated because it's got a sheen to it. This is flat and natural watercolor paper. So same thing. I'm going to take my gel medium, brush, okay, I'll make sure I get plenty on here so that I can get this nice and mounted. All right. And you can even wipe off the brush a little bit with the gel medium if you want. Clean paper because I don't want to get that all over everything. So I just take and put a piece of clean paper down. Now some of these will stick together, but you'll be able to reuse some of them. Sometimes they come right apart. So now I'm going to take that and I'm going to put it so that it's covering it. I'm going to take another sheet of paper and I start rollering. And I take a lot of time to make sure that I roller this on really well. So I'm gonna roller, and then in case it seeps out and gets on my sheet that I'm rollering with, I keep switching paper. So I'll take another sheet, I'll lift this guy up, I'll put this down. That was my other sheet. It didn't look like it had anything on it, but I still wanted to make sure. Now I'm going to look. Let's see. Now, these guys, I will end up trimming, and it looks like it's sealed. I will trim after it dries. So on this one, what we can do is take paper, sit it on paper, and we can put it in this stack of books and just put it under the you know, I have one book, I pulled these off, right? I'm gonna go back here. So I'm gonna set this on clean paper on the book. And then I'm going to put a new piece of paper on top. And then I'm going to put my books back on top. Okay? So we have more weight. I usually don't stack them like that, but because we're doing a class tonight and I've got many layers of these, I am, you smash faster? Good job, Lebowski. All right, so that's basically it. All right, so once again, this is a backing board. I had sealed it with GAC 100. Bring this back so you can see what I'm doing. So I did 2 coats on each side, one at a time. Then I put, after that, and they dry in between, then I put the gel medium on. I already gel medium, see that? See how shiny it is? It's on there and it's dry. So I already gel medium this one. I'm just gonna set it right here. Now I need a paper towel. I'm waiting for the kitten because she loves this stuff and she really loves the smell of it, and I don't know what it is. Could be the glue. I don't know, but she loves it. So I'm watching out for her. She's so naughty. All right, here we go. Look how you can see it. Nice thick layer. Lay it right on there. Already I feel like it's drying, so I'm just gonna grab my painting and put it on real quick. And then we'll relocate it. So we're just gonna line this up, try to get it on here. Maybe I'll just lift this piece up here. Before we do too much, I'm just checking to see if it's lined up. Okay, so shift it just a hair, okay? So I can, while it's still rather goopy, I can move it just a little bit. I want to move it down, make sure it's lined up with this edge. Now I'm going to get a couple of sheets of this. So let's put it on a clean sheet. Flip it. We're just going to flip it. There we go. Now I'm going to put this down and I'm going to really roller and press. I'll start from the inside and kind of pull it out. And that also helps push it not to one side, but kind of flatten out. I also like to dent the edges like that so that I can see where that it's getting pushed down on my edges. So I'm going to take that. And do you see how it has stuff all over it? I can sit that on a discard pile and use it again later. I'm just going to get a clean sheet. Watching paint dry, guys. Sorry about that. And again, there we go. Another messy sheet. Just gonna throw those two together like that. And I'm gonna lift this guy up. Maybe even try to get some of this extra stuff off. I usually don't like to do that, but this one really has a lot on it. And look at that. Do you see that? This is a great example. This is not sealed down. Do you see the little tiny area that's up? I do not want that. So I'm going to do something here and show you how you deal with that. If one of your edges is not sticking, okay, you've got to re-glue. So I need two things. You have to work pretty fast. Normally I would be working a lot faster. I'm going to peel this whole edge up right there. Whole thing. I'm just peeling it up. Get some glue and I'm going to stick it back down here. And we are going to re-roller it. Goes back in there. This goes back on here. Ish. This goes back down. Okay. And I've got to make sure that it is sealed. So run it down. Oh, here's another thing. I know this is 5x7. So if I take my 8.5 by 11 and I fold this in half, check this out. It's another way to reuse your sheets. That looks pretty good. It's down, it's sealed. That's sealed. I think I'm still gonna do another roller. Oof, that's dirty. Everything's dirty. You'll find that things get really dirty. I mean, of course they're gonna get dirty. We're messing with glue, right? Okay. Same as before. I'm just gonna put these in between the books I already have set up. So I'm gonna move my books. And I think what I'm gonna do is set a couple of these side by side under here. So there's a little bit of movement going on. I'm going to take, you want to see what I'm doing over here. I'm going to turn this guy like this. And then I'm going to take this guy and put him right beside it, just like that. papers. Look, right on top. And then I've got this guy I'll put back again. We can put another one with it when we get that far. Okay? And then I'm stacking all my books right back on top. So we've got a nice amount of weight on top of that. Okay? All right, let's come back here. Oh, that's funny. You like that painting? Well, I'm glad you like that painting. And that is funny. It was one of our demo pieces, and we were joking about how it looked like. I thought that the walls were just stained like that, or I don't know why I didn't realize. But anyway, Adobe walls, if you ever see gray or white, apparently it is bird poo. I didn't realize that. Okay, guys. This I thought was interesting, and we are experimenting with this. So let me talk a little bit about the Canson Multimedia Artboard. So I bought a pack of this. Luckily I did when I was traveling because I ran out of my pre-made watercolor panels. And so I pulled this Canson, it's a multimedia artboard, and I painted on it. I'm not really crazy about the surface, and it curls just a little bit. Like there's a little bit of a bend in it. It's not completely flat. You can kind of see it when I look at it like that. So I decided that I wanted to try to take them and turn them into watercolor paper mounted on boards so that it's a very light plein air board for gouache. So that's what I did. I pre-coated this with the GAC, 2 coats each side. And then I put the soft gel gloss on there. And now we're going to mount this little barn painting that was a demo painting onto it. And I want to see how it does. All right, so just like before, to get into the gel medium, the kitten is in the area, so I will just preface everything with danger, Will Robinson, because the kitten is around. So anything that involves glue needs to be covered. All right. So make sure this is my side. Yes, this is the side I want. Just like before, look, I'm just brushing it right on the surface. I want to make sure it's on all the edges. Just like that, okay? I gotta get enough so that it doesn't dry before I get the panel on. Stuff that in the water, here she comes. Ruh-roh. Danger! Danger! Cat's on her way! I was gonna close everything, so I gotta close this. No hugs. No. Let's try to block her. Let's try to block her. This is probably a really bad idea. Okay. And paper. No, Pogo, no. And then, now I just felt the shift, so we may need to rotate it. So we're gonna lift this up. Yeah, we're gonna have to move it a little bit. Oh, no. Pogo, no. I knew that was a bad idea. Okay, hold on guys. We've got a little bit of a mess to clean up. She knocked my tea over. It got into my mounted paintings. So we gotta move some stuff real quick. Before it gets on everything. Well, before it gets on more. Sorry everybody, just hang in there. Oh boy. Okay. So now we know what happens when water gets on a mounted painting, right? Okay, I gotta move this. There's a lot going on. This gets moved onto here. That one was not quite on there well. Let's do this. Let's see if I can get this reattached. And then we're gonna deal with this. And I'll probably have to end the stream early because I have tea everywhere. It's all over the floor, it's all over the table, it's all over everything. So let me make sure I get my book clean. Oh, do you ever have a moment where you kind of see something happening before it happens and you know what you're doing is really, really stupid? That was this moment. I knew the painting isn't ruined. I will say that. Interesting. Not ruined. Definitely waterlogged. Interesting texture. I can paint right on top of this too. It's not varnished, so, but look at that. Do you see all the paint? Look at this mess over here from where she got stuff in it. Oh, what a stinker. She's so bad. So naughty. So before I put this back under weight, I probably want to let this dry. You see how wet it is on that top corner? So we'll kind of see how this does. And in the meantime, let's check this one and see if I've ruined it. Luckily, they're just demo paintings, so I'm not too worried about it. But I am kind of mad at her. A sec. I need a couple sheets of this. She's like, what, me? Did I do something? Yes, Pogorific, yes, you did. Okay. So I'm going to gently peel this up. We talked about this before. I'm going to go ahead and just peel this whole thing off. So do you see that? It's not the end of the world if you have to pull one off while it's still wet. Once it's on there, you're not going to pull it off once it dries. But in this stage right now, you can pull it off and then you can reapply. That. Stick that back in the water. Hope she doesn't get into it. And we're going to put it right back on. And then, luckily, I have these ready. So I'm going to take this and really attempt to get this squished onto here correctly. So there's that. It's a little bit over on one side. Let's take a look at this. Hold on. Kind of has been really discombobulated. Okay, so yes, it is very much over on one side. See if we can get it to move. It is not wanting to move. So it will be a little smaller than a standard 5x7 because I'll trim it, but we're gonna go with it because, you know, cat disasters, so I think we're kind of stuck. And if I look at this, like I said, it's sticking on there pretty good. Well, not too bad. Not too shabby. Santa, I have them, and then I forget to put one up here, and disaster strikes. So there you go with the spill-proof coffee mugs. I have got to get on cleanup, guys, or everything is going to be ruined on my table and floors. So, with that, I think you guys have the gist of it. That's all we're doing tonight, given the vast extent of insane messes that were just created. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you have a fabulous week. I'll catch you next week. Everybody who jumped up the end and saw the giant catastrophe, thanks for watching. And I will catch you on Friday with Friday Night